As Oxford, Canterbury and Birmingham buy into the C40's dystopian 50-minute city hell, are you ready to comply? The idea of a 15-minute city is basically an organising principle for urban development and the belief that existing cities should be divided into districts where everything is available within 15 minutes of walking and cycling. The model theoretically promotes a human-centric and environmentally sustainable urban future, ensuring that all residents can access their daily needs, be it work, housing, food, health, education, culture and leisure, without the daily grind of travelling long distances. Although the concept has been around for decades and was previously tried in the Soviet Union, the term 15-minute city was only coined in 2016 by Carlos Marino, a Colombian-born city planner who teaches at a French university. And if you think the idea of a 15-minute city is the folksy underdog musings of local residents, then think again, because the concept forms the pillar of the C40 Cities Leadership Group. And what is the C40 exactly? Well, it originally started up in 2005 by then London Mayor Ken Livingstone, who merged it with the Clinton Climate Initiative. The C40, as it is now known, is headed by the current London Mayor Sadiq Khan, and its board of directors is headed by billionaire Michael Bloomberg. And according to Wikipedia, the C40 consists of 97 of the world's largest cities, accounting for 1/12 of the global population and 1/4 of the global economy. So the C40 isn't exactly local, is it? Nor is it small fry. And what is interesting is that the concept didn't really take off until the start of the pandemic. Municipal governments around the world sought to reconfigure urban environments in order to enable residents to function locally and maintain physical distances from each other, during which time politicians in Paris noticed that people would stay in their local areas, and this emboldened them with the idea to try out the 15-minute concept.
We propose a new path. We propose a new journey for transforming radically our urban lifestyles and our territorial lifestyles.
And this warrants comment, doesn't it? Because if I remember rightly, the pandemic lockdowns didn't ignite new collaborations or interactions. We weren't allowed to be in groups indoors with friends or neighbours or outdoors, not even relatives. We were allowed out for essential shopping, pet walking and essential exercise only. And sometimes I think these politicians are living in an alternate universe to the rest of us, because we was busy hiding at home so we didn't receive fines or catch COVID-19.
Are you contradicting me, Private? No, Sergeant!
All of this came to light in the UK in November, courtesy of a pilot scheme published by Oxfordshire County Council with the support of Oxford City Council. The scheme involves setting up cameras at key locations to keep track of where everyone is driving to ensure that they don't leave their designated area too frequently, crossing certain borders. Now, these boundaries will be enforced through traffic filters, their term, not mine, and that will automatically issue fines to violating vehicles, and the pilot is scheduled to start in 2024. And the backlash, it has to be said, has been immense.
Thank God his pants stayed on.
And in response to the consultation itself, 93% of the 4,814 comments it received were opposed to the pilot for multiple reasons, with only 7% supporting. But rather than simply acknowledge that the idea was extremely unpopular, the council dug their heels in, and the cabinet member for travel and development said that the scheme was, and I quote, going to happen definitely, which says a lot about the consultation process in general and democracy. I mean, it literally turns the consultation process into a farce. And if you couple that with partial data to justify failed schemes, which is happening quite a lot in London with the LTN obsession, then you're literally left with power telling the powerless that they know what is best for us.
I know my place.
Now, in a petition set up by residents of Oxford opposing the scheme, they write, now I'm just going to read this just quickly. It is important to separate the 15 minutes from the proposed control grid that will be used to enforce them. It's the coercion that's the bad thing here. They will be happy for us to shout and complain about the actual 15 minutes and how they are inconvenient and hurt businesses, etc. What they don't want is the discussion about the everlasting system of surveillance and control that it would create and could be used for other things and morphed with digital ID, etc. Now, I understand they're leaping ahead a bit here. But before you shout conspiracist, if you go to the gov.uk site, you'll see the consultation for draft legislation to support identity verification, which they hope to implement in December. Anyway, back to the petition. It goes on to say, don't confuse totalitarian control grid with traditional town planning. Keep the focus on control systems. The future of humanity revolving around continuous surveillance and threats forever, that doesn't sound like progress. That's not flourishing. That is not our future. And they have a point, don't they? This idea or ideology sounds like the beginning of a dystopian hell that will only be used for reasons of control. Over the next 2 decades, cities across the UK are set to spend billions on additional cameras and sensors, collecting even more data on people as cities are slowly evolving into smart cities. And smart in this sense is a synonym for surveillance. Big Brother, in other words, is about to get a whole lot bigger. But Oxford Council's response was a public relations disaster and was indicative of how much councillors are disconnected from the people they profess to represent. But it goes further than that, doesn't it? Because their response is basically about forcing us to adopt authoritarian governance if the democratic process fails to comply. And the question is, and it's a great big question, should we willfully abandon democracy to make way for the ideological concept of a 15-minute neighbourhood? Because whenever I read the literature on this, I'm always reminded that these concepts should be a joint venture with local people to create the kind of neighbourhood that they want. But all I ever see is this top-down, tyrannical approach from narcissistic authoritarians trying to see what they can get away with, how far they can push people, and how much they can bully, intimidate, and abuse the public. Remember, this isn't about whether you agree with the concept of a 15-minute city or not. This is about intrusive surveillance being used to corral us into altering our behaviour. And you either agree with that or you don't. And for those that do, and there will definitely be a body of people out there that this system suits because it deters people from moving about in a specific way. But be very careful with that fire you are playing with. Next time, those powers which bypass democratic norms, undermine consultations, and disregard community cohesion might be used against you. But what do I know? After all, I'm just a taxi driver. Thank you for tuning in, and if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe. There's a brand new format coming shortly, and I will be up and podcasting again very soon also. If you want to get in touch, you can message me in the comments section below. Alternatively, you can DM me on Twitter at SeanPaulDay or email me at SeanPaulDay@gmail.com. All that's left for me to say is, I'll see you out there on the mean streets.